runway inbound for a full stop, and landing 13 left if that's available.
Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, Palm Springs Tower, squawk 6250.
6250.
Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, Palm Springs altimeter is 2985, radar contact about 10 miles west of the Palm Springs VOR. Presently landing runway 31, you're requesting straight in for 13.
If that's available, yes, please.
Remember, correction, Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, make straight in runway 13 left and clear to land. Wind is 0905.
Clear to land, runway 3 left, Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, thanks.
Palm Springs clearance plus 4658 is type PC12 slam call, request clearance to Vegas S-file.
Plus 4658, Palm Springs clearance. Good afternoon. Unable to give you S-file, and I'll be full route standby. Plus 4658 is cleared to the Las Vegas Airport. VFR Cathedral 1 departure procedure to Palm Springs. Victor 370 to 29 Palms. Victor 538. Cresso. Join the Cresso 3 arrival. Maintain 7,000. Expect flight level 2405 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 126.7, squawk 6316.
Plus 4658 is cleared to Vegas via Cathedral 1, Palm Springs, Victor 37029, Palms, Victor 538, Cresso 3. Initially climb 7,000, expect cruiser F25, departure 1267, squawk 6316 plus 465.
Plus 4658, reback is correct. Tango India Mike, taxi to the ground via Echo and this frequency.
Taxiing to the ramp via Echo, remaining on this frequency, Papa Hotel Tango India Mike.
Ontario Tower, Cessna 237 Charlie Alpha, approximately 4 miles to the west, inbound to land.
Number 237 Charlie Alpha, roger, inner left traffic, left downwind runway 26 left, report base.
Enter left downwind for 26 left and record your base, 237 Charlie Alpha.
Charlie Tower, United 242 on the visual for 20 right, returning for a right base shortly.
United 242 John Wayne Tower, runway 20 right, clear to land, wind 170.3.
Clear to land, 20 right, United 242.
Papa Tower, King Alpha 208 Kilo, ILS 54.
Here 520 Yankee Kilo, Palomar Tower, runway 24, clear to land, wind 210 at 11.
The land
Number 237 Charlie Alpha, runway 26 left, clear to land.
26 left, clear to land, 7 Charlie Alpha.
Palm Springs ground plus 4658 East trend with weather calling for taxi.
Plus 4658, Palm Springs ground, runway 31 right, taxi via Echo and Bravo.
Trail right via Echo Bravo 465.
Riverside Tower, good morning, November 2903 Alpha with you on the ILS.
Number 2903 Alpha, Riverside Tower, good afternoon. Runway 9 clear low approach, report miss.
November 2903 Alpha, clear low approach, runway 9, next report is with
Palm Springs Tower plus 4658 ready to go 3 and right at Bravo.
Plus 4658, Palm Springs Tower, runway 31 right, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff 3 and right plus 465.
Palomar Tower, King Alpha 208 Kilo, 58
Here's our Yankee Kilo, roger, taxi into the ramp via Alpha.
via Alpha to
Plus 4658, contact SoCal departure.
Contact departure 465.
Cessna 7 Charlie Alpha is clearly active, taxi to the GA parking base.
We're 7 Charlie Alpha, remain on this frequency, taxi into the south ramp via Sierra.
South ramp via Sierra with you, 7 Charlie Alpha, thanks.
Number 2903 Alpha going around.
Number 03 Alpha, confirm going around or going missed?
November 2903 Alpha going missing.
Number 03 Alpha, roger, execute the published missed approach procedure.
Flying the published mid-approach procedure, November 2903.
Piper 2903 Alpha, contact SoCal departure.
Contact departure, 03 Alpha.
Number 03 Alpha, departure frequency will be 135.4.
135.4 for departure, November 2903 Alpha.
Ontario Tower, November 516 Delta Mike, inbound ILS 26 left.
Number 516 Delta Mike, Ontario Tower. Good afternoon, Ontario. Wind is calm. Runway 26 left, clear to land.
26 left, clear to land, 6 Delta Mike. Ontario Tower, November 36. Correction, 516 Delta Mike, clear of the active at uniform, taxiing to the south apron.
Number 6 Delta Mike, roger, taxi on the south ramp via Sierra. Remain on this frequency.
Via Sierra on this frequency, 6 Delta Mike.
Riverside Tower, good evening. November 2910 on the Alpha is windy on the middle coast on the season. 7 position is left hand down as on expected.
Number 2903 Alpha, Riverside Tower, runway 27, clear to land.
Clear to land on runway 27, 03 Alpha. Riverside Ground, November 2903 Alpha, in Alpha request taxi to the transient parking.
Number 2903 Alpha, Riverside ground. In the future, don't switch to the ground frequency unless you're told to do so. You should stay with tower, exiting the runway all the way to the hold short point. Stay on this frequency for now, taxi into the ramp via Alpha.
Taxi to ramp via Alpha, rocket. Number 2903 Alpha.
Generating clear. Generating clearance. November 6th. Charlie Mike Cherokee. I would like to attempt the I-4 rating today.
Cherokee 76 Charlie Mike, jawline clearance. Good evening. Good luck on the I-4 destination. Will be, let's go, Kilo Oscar X-ray Romeo.
That's Kilo Oscar X-ray Romeo. 6 Charlie Mike.
Yes, sir. Good luck.
I'm going to sign off and collect some information for this destination. I'll sign back in. Is that okay?
Absolutely. Just report when you're back with the I-4. And how long do you think it'll be? It's not going to be more than an hour, is it?
No. I have to file and get some charts and plates.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'll still be here, so it shouldn't be a problem. And we'll look for your flight plan to come through. And we should clearance them.
Las Vegas Tower Plus 465 usual 1 on the right, 4,500.
Plus 4658 Las Vegas Tower, runway 19 right, clear to land, wind 1807.
Clear to land, 19 right, 465.
Plus 658 exit right, taxi into the ramp via hotel, remain on this frequency today.
Exit right, ramp via hotel, ramp frequency 58, 465.
Long Beach ground, number 953 Whiskey Alpha's Piper Comanche PA24/Alpha. Taxi the active VFR east departure with the weather.
Calling Long Beach ground, need you to verify your call sign, please.
Sorry about that. 916 Whiskey Alpha, November 916 Whiskey Alpha.
Comanche 9016 Whiskey Alpha, Long Beach ground, roger. And just confirm VFR eastbound.
Eastbound and the east ramp just south of runway 25.
Comanche 9016 Whiskey Alpha, roger, runway 26 right, taxi via Kilo.
Okay, 25 right via Kilo, 916 Whiskey Alpha. Long Beach Tower, November 916 Whiskey Alpha, holding short of 25 right Kilo, ready for departure via Park East.
Number 916 Whiskey Alpha, Long Beach Tower, runway 25 right, clear for takeoff, right downwind departure approved.
Clear for takeoff 25 right, right downwind departure 6 Whiskey Alpha.
Good day, Palm Springs, ground scanning Hotel Tango, East Ramp, India, close traffic, runway 31 right.
Papa Hotel Tango, do you Mike? Palm Springs ground, say again aircraft type.
Bray Cessna Sky.
Skyline Tango, do you Mike? Thank you, runway 31 right, taxi via Echo and Bravo.
Echo and Bravo, 31 right. Papa Hotel Tango.
We're 791 Juliet, towards ground left clear.
Okay, Sky 791 Juliet. We see there's no clearance delivery with this field, so would we get our departure instructions with tower or with ground?
Always go with the lowest, so we'll start with ground. Just say your intentions.
Okay, Sky 791 Juliet. Type Cessna 172 on the south hangars with the numbers requesting VFR advisories to John.
Number 791 Juliet, roger, departure frequency 134.9er, squawk 2061.
1249, that's 2061. Squawk 791 Juliet.
Got 901 Juliet, read back is correct. Are you ready to taxi now?
In a couple of minutes, just got to go around to the side. It's Sky 791 Juliet, south hangars, 956.
Sky 791 Juliet, roger, runway 29 right. Taxi via hotel, correction, taxi via Alpha in Juliet.
29 right, taxi via Alpha and Juliet, Sky 791 Juliet.
Hey guys, happy Sunday! Some VFR flying and some partial instrument flying as well. Still, as part of the previous stream, I noticed that it is kind of good to stay into shape with my ATC VFR flying. So that's why I thought let's do one more, and also because I will fly around the San Diego area, which I haven't been doing that much actually. I've only visited San Diego as part of my Cat 11 rating a while ago, but there are lots of Delta class airports around, which may be pretty and nice to visit. So that's what we're going to do today. Well, currently the real weather actually is not that good. It's very marginal VMC like, so I had to reset my set my own weather here, so I can do my VFR flight still as part of training. Very soon as I will progress through my training as part of my season 2, I will eventually fly much more real world weather, but today we're just going to have some fun with my own weather here. So that's going to be fun. 733 San Diego style. Yeah, that's totally true. Welcome on the stream. Evanek, thank you for being here as always. Gaming Beer and the Sky Lounge, thank you for the auto host. That's much appreciated. Yeah, we are going to have some fun. So we are currently at Ramona, and the flight that I've planned for today is actually quite interesting. As you can see, I'm not going to fly only to Brown Airport, Kilo Sierra Delta Mike, but we're also going to visit Gillespie, a Delta class airport, as you can see. We're also going to go to Montgomery, where the King Schools, John and Martha actually reside, I believe. And then we're going to fly a VFR corridor. San Diego International Airport is a Bravo airspace, as you can see. A lot of sectors there, Bravo sectors. Also, obviously, provides a VFR corridor for VFR flights to transition from the north to the south, or the other way around. So, in a way, let's hop over to the VFR chart here, the tech chart. You can see all of these arrows, these blue arrows, as you look familiar perhaps also from the LA area. We also have such a chart. And as you can see, the controllers recommend us VFR pilots to fly particular routes to avoid as much of the departing and arriving traffic on IFR or whatever around these large airports, which is great. So we can use these rivers almost that we can fly, these corridors, to nicely and safely transition, efficiently transition through this airspace. So you can see Ramona is here on top. That's where we are currently. We're going to depart and then we're going to fly to Gillespie over here. And you can see this is the route that they prefer us to fly. So some visual reference points here as well. Then Gillespie, then a very short hop to Montgomery. Well, again, I think that's cool. Also good for me to do some practice and departing and arriving at a traffic pattern on ATC, which is fun. And then from Montgomery, we're going to fly depart to the south and fly this VFR corridor. We're just going to overfly the San Diego airport all the way down to Brown. Now, two issues here, two things actually that are worth noticing or mentioning is first, you don't need any ATC contact to make this VFR transition through the Bravo, which is a little bit, again, well, a little bit strange or weird or unexpected. I mean, also the special VFR blah 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 route for the LAX airport also doesn't require us as VFR pilots to make any contact with ATC. There's only kind of a CTAF frequency where you can chat with other pilots that might also do the same transition. You say, hey, I'm coming from the south going to the north. So you just do a plain announcement. And the same applies to this particular VFR corridor. So we just tune into a frequency and we can just overfly San Diego International Airport, and fly this particular route all the way down. The main thing here is that we fly at least above 3,500 and below 4,500, as you can see here, or to be more precise, 3,400 and 4,600. And we go all the way down. Then you can see here, that's the second thing, Imperial Beach Airport. Also there you can see there are many other Delta class airports, but many of them are military. And so we are not allowed to visit there, I guess. So that's why I only picked these few that we're going to visit in today's stream. If we have enough time, I think we have. If not, we're going to postpone that flight from Montgomery to Brown for another day. But perhaps we're going to make that. But anyway, we're going to go down here south. And then you can see here the Imperial Beach. Nolf also has a a delta class, and as we like to arrive here at brown at traffic pattern and altitude, we should be very wary not to bash into that delta class. So perhaps we need to overfly brown first, go a little bit more east and circle down, and then say, hey brown, here we are, we'd like to arrive. That's the idea, at least for today. 733, if you depart straight out and climb to 2,900, report at Black Mountain with SoCal, ask for the Miramar transition and fly with Miramar. Yeah, I've been noticing that transition as well here also on the Discord. Thank you for sharing that information. Yeah, it was hard to find any documentation there, only some videos. Cessna Sky Pilot, good to see you. I can't just stay, just wanted to say hi. Been without power for a week here in Florida. Oh my gosh, yeah, Hurricane Irma. Just got it back overnight. Yay. Well, that's good to hear, Cessna. Thank you for dropping by and saying hi. I'm hoping that that power issue. Also, I've been following Frugal. Has also been reporting a lot of issues there with not regaining any power or even help there. And it's so hot in Florida currently, obviously. So tough times, but good to know that you're doing better. Coltrane, good to see you as well. Under the Bravo, right? I don't think so. Is that true? Let me see. Well, as you can see here, if I'm correct, but perhaps I'm not. I mean, there's an inner sector here. I can see here from surface up to 10,000. I would expect that that would also apply to this inner piece of the Bravo. Am I correct? No, I'm not. As you can see here, yeah, that's why it makes sense. Yeah, so we're not transitioning through the Bravo. Indeed, there is a corridor, a echo airspace, just in between. It's kind of like a sandwich. You can see here from the surface up to 3,300 is Bravo. Then there is a chunk of echo, and then it starts. Bravo starts again at 4,700 to 10,000. So you guys are totally right. We're not transitioning through the Bravo, but we are kind of like squeezing ourselves through the echo airspace that the controllers build in for us VFR pilots to transition from the north to the south or the other way around. Yeah, that's totally right. Yeah, but well, that also reminds me then, if for the LAX transition, where you also do not need any ATC clearance or stuff, if that also applies, and if we would then also fly through Echo. Don't know by heart. Makes sense though, indeed. If you need to transition to Bravo, you will always need clearance. So, well, perhaps that's also the case with the LAX transition. I don't know by heart. Yeah, the special flight rules area, exactly, Coltrane. That's the one that I'm referring to. But I don't know if that's also a kind of a funnel, echo airspace funnel, and that's why you don't need to chat with ATC for that transition, or whether that's an exception on the rule. I don't know. Anyways, we are going to follow this VFR routing, which I think is really, really fun, with a lot of departures and arrivals. So let's get to it. So again, this is the flight. We're currently at Ramona, so we're going to focus on that first leg from Ramona to Gillespie, which is an airport that I never visited before. So that's cool. I set my own weather, so we don't need to go through the entire weather briefing as before. I'm also planning to fly on partial instruments, and I haven't decided yet what partial instruments, or well, what configuration, partial configuration I'd like to fly. So I was thinking, well, we could again disable the attitude indicator. But because we are flying VMC, that doesn't really pose that much of a challenge, because we obviously have a real attitude right in front of us, and that is just the horizon. So I guess when we are flying without an attitude indicator with VMC, that wouldn't be that much of a challenge or an exercise. Perhaps it's better to fly without a heading indicator. So we should only fly on the magnetic compass. Still, I've got the GPS. Also some notes on that in just a moment. So I think that might be a little bit more challenging, and we can use that. So let's do that right away. Flight, edit failures, instruments, primary, heading indicator, failed. Copilot, we don't have a copilot. Okay, good. Apply. All right, so the heading indicator is not working. Again, in the future stream, I'm going to ask Mrs. Uncertified to hit buttons on the iPad while I'm flying. So I need to practice with identifying what systems have failed in my Cessna. And I need to resolve or recover from that, which is actually the best exercise of all. But still, for today, primarily ATC practice, just some flying. And again, it's so much fun to fly on ATC on PilotEdge, obviously. Yeah, airspeed isn't that tough, Evanek, at least in my experience. VSI and heading indicator, yeah, VSI could also be done, but again, also in VMC, wouldn't that much? Well, I would expect it wouldn't be that much of a challenge without the vertical speed indicator. I think the heading indicator would be fine for today, and also a little bit new. So let's go with that. Good afternoon, SMO Kill. Good to see you. Welcome aboard. Okay, so that's for today, but I have some other notes, minor notes. So first off, Mrs. Uncertified and me are hopefully, fingers crossed, gonna fly that real-world introductory flight that you guys donated so kindly and made possible. Actually, we're gonna fly that next weekend with a Cessna Skyhawk. She is going to fly with an instructor. We're gonna do some traffic pattern laps. And we're going to overfly the campus and the university that's very near to our home, also our home neighborhood here, which is going to be really, really cool. And as you know, I'm going to video record it as best as I can and share it with you here on the stream with her to give back the joy that we had, as we expect at least. Still hoping that the weather here will allow us to fly, because usually here in the Netherlands the weather is, well, not that... VMC and not that stable. So again, we're hoping that this time around we are able to fly, so we cannot wait to jump into that Skyhawk and fly, and also see the degree of transfer, right? The stuff that she's been doing here in the cockpit, whether that whether she can apply that also, or a little bit feel familiar in that cockpit, and do a little bit of steering, turns, and perhaps even takeoffs and stuff. So we're going to see. Okay, so that's the first one. Next one, Xenviro version 1.07 has finally released. However, the changelog, the updates are quite minor in my opinion, and I haven't read anything about the unexpected IMC glitch. I think that was part of the previous version, where when I was especially flying VFR, I need to rely on the cloud depictions to remain clear of clouds, right? And suddenly, flying with Xenviro, there were different situations, various situations where I was flying and I thought I was very much clear of clouds, and suddenly I was in IMC, which is not realistic at all, and also not practical for practicing how to fly VFR. So I was hoping that with the next version that would be fixed. Well, it hasn't been fixed, unfortunately. But also, as some of you have also noted in the Discord, testing the new version, there are a lot of other weird glitches. And well, long story short, the new version to me is actually worse than the previous version, and that's why I decided to uninstall Xenviro, at least for the time being. So I'm only flying with the default weather, which is fine as well. What I'm primarily looking for is a better weather engine. So perhaps Active Sky Next will provide an engine for X-Plane to do that. So better METAR readouts and stuff, and not sudden weather or wind changes. So yeah, that's a little bit of a bummer, a little bit of a disappointment, but hey, that's just a news report. Also, what I've done now is I got myself the Reality XP GNS 530 and the 430. So now in my cockpit here, we have a full-featured GPS, which is really, really great. I'm going to show you that in just a second. Again, in one of my future episodes, I'm going to dedicate an entire episode on learning how to manage that thing. Also in terms of, well, flying with it, obviously. Even though I'm a slant alpha kind of guy, I still know that it's very, very important to know how to utilize a GPS for flight, especially with IFR flight and programming flight plans and stuff. So that's going to be a topic of one of the future episodes, which I'm really looking forward to. But it's already working, which is really, really great. Yep. And last one is that the latest version of the Simcoders Rep, the Reality Expansion Pack, has now been released. So the version 3.1.1 is now public, which is really, really great. And again, thank you guys for also sharing your suggestions and feedback. As you can see, they are listening and stuff has been fixed and improved, which is really, really great. I will keep you updated on any new improvements that they are working on. And as always, if you have any feedback on stuff that you'd like to see improved or added or whatever, let me know. I'm partnered with Simcoders. I have direct access to their team, and I very much like them to further improve and optimize their Reality Expansion Pack, obviously. So that's going to be cool. And that completes my notes for today. I think, yep. So let's get flying. Let's get flying. So, let me see. Yeah, so Ramona, my own weather, just basic VFR weather, so that's great. Let me also show you Ramona. Again, last stream I had so much trouble finding the airport, which actually was something that I was thinking about even after the stream. Like, my gosh, why still as a Cat 11 rated pilot, this is so difficult. It almost seems like well, it's called PilotEdge, right? So flying on visuals is usually, at least in my mind, framed as a preliminary, quite basic flight skill until you eventually move on to VOR flying and, well, you name it, right? But actually, I actually come to understand PilotEdge as a more advanced skill. It's actually much harder to solely rely on the terrain and your obstacles and visual reference points alone, rather than just flying a radial or your DME. So I really like to focus my future episodes as well on improving my PilotEdge skills, because as you've seen, which was quite fun actually, I had a lot of trouble finding Ramona here in this beautiful photo reel scenery. So also for today, when we're going to fly to Gillespie and Montgomery, yeah, I think I will run into the same trouble. So I need your help, guys, to find those airports. One advantage, though, my GPS is now working. I do not plan to cheat with that thing because I'd like to develop some good flight skills here. But yeah, I guess we're gonna again run into the challenge of just spotting an airport tucked so nicely in photoreal that it's so hard to see, like in the real world, obviously. So yeah, that's something that's still on my mind, and I think I will run into again for this particular flight. And it's also why we have a lot of opportunities. I have a lot of opportunities today to fly from to Gillespie and to Montgomery and then to Brown to further practice that. But beautiful Ramona here. It's such a nice airport. Also very nice. This could also be kind of your St. Louis airport where you can do your first traffic patterns. This is a nice, small Delta class airspace with a lot of free room here around, which is nice. Hey, Minimaps, good to see you as well. Hope you're doing great. Okay, let's get into the cockpits. In about 15 minutes, the A to C controllers of PilotEdge will go live. Crash Tender, Tim, are you using a VFR navigation log as well, apart from using 4FlyFlap? No, I've been thinking about doing that. I mean, 4Flight also has its own navigation log in a way. Navlog. So you can see here, giving me for each leg the fuel burn and the time and that stuff, and you can well, you can check those legs off. But I think it's really good practice to make your own navigation VFR navigation log to do these calculations by hand. Also, I was really inspired by a Rush of Aerosim Gaming, who a while ago also dedicated some of his streams to actually planning a VFR flight by hand and actually by a real paper sectional chart. Well, I have such a sectional here of the SoCal as well, which is such a lovely chart. It smells so great. It's really really great. It was actually present by Mrs. Uncertified for my last birthday. I don't have all the calculators and rulers and stuff, but I would love to apply that skill as well, or actually to learn a skill and to use those rulers and calculations to do that by hand. But for my flights, it all depends on what your goal is for training. I mean, for me currently, my focus of training is mostly with flying in ATC and not so much spending that much time on doing these calculations by hand. So that's why for every flight, I'm not doing this each and every time because it becomes quite redundant and takes a lot of time away. I don't have that much free time to fly, so every time or any time that I have, I would like to spend on the stuff that really is important to me. But I will in the future because I think it's important and it's fun as well. Let me see. So Ramona, we are going to fly to Gillespie. Very, very short flight. And let's look at some visual reference points, because that's the main focus for this first leg. How are we going to find Gillespie just based on visuals? Now, as you can see, which is actually also not really a discovery, but something that I was thinking about. Obviously, a sectional denotes the most significant, right, prominent visual marks of the terrain, mountain tops, also lakes. But it's quite simplified. So if you look closely here, there's also actually a lake here just underneath with that star, as you can see there. It's quite hard to see just looking at a sectional. So I thought, also by having read on a lot of other forums of real-world pilots, they were saying that they also pre-flight their flights with Google Maps. They just look at the terrain to have a much more sophisticated view or idea of how the terrain, what the terrain looks like. Now, we are flying with photoreal as well, so this is actually what the scenery looks like. So why not use just also Google Maps to have a better idea of how the terrain, what the terrain looks like, so you're better prepared. And especially in my case, when I'm mostly solely relying on my visuals here outside, this might be actually a very great tool to use. So as you can see here, here's Ramona, and there's the airport. Nicely tucked away here. And where is Gillespie? Well, Gillespie is all the way over, I believe over here. Let me see, here. Gillespie Field, right? So, as you can see, there are some lakes here. And usually, initially, when I planned this particular leg, I thought, okay, so here's a very prominent, unique kind of a lake here, because this lake has an island, right? Right in the middle. And the other lakes do not have such a, or reservoirs do not have such an island. So this is a very unique visual mark that I could fly to. So that's quite basic. And I thought, well, in a way, I could actually fly in between this lake and, well, this reservoir or whatever it is, to get myself to this highway, Highway 8, and then follow that highway all the way down to Gillespie. But when I looked at this Google Maps satellite imagery, I was looking and saying, hey, there's actually another lake here. And as you know, it's quite Tim-like to misidentify a lake for being the lake that I was planning for, which is actually a totally different lake. And so I completely mess up my planning because I'm using the wrong reference point. It's wonderful to me to see that Google Maps can actually be a great aid, at least when you're flying on visuals, to secure, or well, to make sure that your flight planning is much more reliable. So as you can see, this little lake here, if you look at ForeFlight, it is there, but it's really tucked underneath all of this ADIS tower frequency data, right? So yeah, that's just an addition to something that I was thinking about, and also in preparation of our planning. So in this case, I would say, well, we just need to fly in between this lake with an island in the middle and this particular mountain peak. But as you can see, there are all kinds of mountain peaks here. And if I, again, go back to the Google Maps imagery, it's hard, actually, to spot that mountain peak. And well, obviously, we're now looking on top of it, so then obviously it's quite hard to see any mountain peaks or terrain differences here. But again, I think that looking at satellite imagery is a great aid into getting more familiar with the terrain. So also looking at the flight VFR corridors, and going back to this particular chart, the guys would like us to fly this particular route. So all the way around, a little bit to the east side of that lake with an island in the middle. In that way, we remain clear of that Bravo airspace here to the west, starting at 3,200 up to 10,000. So we need to be very careful not flying into that Bravo. So what we're going to do is fly that route, stay a little bit east of that lake. That might be our first reference point. Then go down, and there's actually a road that we can then follow, or a highway that we can follow all the way down to Gillespie. We should already contact Gillespie Tower once we are near that lake, because we should contact tower like, well, kind of like 10 nautical miles out, so that the tower has enough time to coordinate our arrival. We also need to check in ATIS. So there's a lot of stuff going on when you make a short-range cross-country flight from one airport to the next, which I think is really, really fun. But that's the idea. So no radio, no stuff, just basic visuals. So first visual is that lake with the island, and then, at least according you can see here, there's a highway here going up north or going south, but it is not fully depicted here all the way down, all the way up to Ramona, this highway. But if you look at Google Maps, you can see, oh, it also stops here. I guess it turns from a highway into a freeway or something like that. I do not quite know. But I was looking actually at this highway, Highway 8. So if I follow this route from Ramona to this lake with the island in the middle, I can go all the way down to the south and then catch that highway and go to Gillespie. That's the idea, at least. So I'm really, really excited to see whether this planning holds. It also means that we cannot fly high enough, or too high, I mean, because otherwise we'll bash into the Delta or the Bravo on top of us, which starts at 3,800. So we need to stay relatively low to the ground, which also makes it a bit harder to spot highways, right? It's much more easy if you fly higher to see the terrain and the mountaintops and the different highways than when you're really close to the ground and don't have an overview. Hey, Edgar, good to see you as well. Good morning. So what we could do is fly at 3,000 feet. You can see also the VFR. That's also why the VFR corridor, or this particular VFR way or routing, also suggests to us to fly below 3,500. So we stay clear of that Bravo. So 3,500 to that lake with the island in the middle. Stay to the east side. Go down until we hit this highway here. We stay a little bit north of that, and that will guide us all the way down to Gillespie. And we need to contact Gillespie when we already near that island or near that lake. Short flight, but that's the idea. And then at Gillespie, we're just gonna taxi again to the runway and do a departure. We're not gonna go to full parking and shutdown, but we just keep a pace going there. I'm not gonna do a touch and go. I'd like to land, but then just taxi to the runway and depart again. Okay, so that's the flight. No weather briefing because we set our own weather. 5 minutes to go until PilotEdge goes live, so that's perfect. Let's fasten our seat belts. Again, I'm skipping the external walk around. Because again, just for time limitations here. Close the door. Very good. Parking brakes are set. Live vest, fire extinguisher, doors closed. ELT is set to auto. Flap lever is up and our flaps are up. My throttle and my mixture is working. My trim is working. Filtering set to both. Cutoff is in. Alternate is in. All of this stuff is good. Circuit breakers are nicely tucked in. My switch panel is working as well. And only the beacon light or switch is turned on. That's good. Let's check our control surfaces. To the right, that one goes down, that one goes up. To the left, that one goes down, and that one is up. Elevator up. Good. Trim, it's working, and my rudders are working as well. Perfect. Batteries on, I think. Battery is on. Why aren't my devices turned on here? I would expect the clock to be turned on, and I would also see the needles turned on. So perhaps our battery is not working. And also, again, with the wrap, you don't know. Perhaps because I haven't been flying for a week or so, the battery was just draining on its own, which is always exciting to see. Let me see. Maintenance reports. Oil. I think it's the next page. Yeah. there is no charge in our battery. I think that's because I didn't disconnect perhaps the battery within a week. I think the battery should be fine within a week. So I don't think if that's the case. I've also been fiddling around a bit with installing the GPS, the GNS with RealityXP. And I turned my batteries on and my avionics on, obviously, and perhaps I didn't switch those off while I shut down X-Plane and shut down my computer, and Rep remembers, stores the fact that you have not turned off your batteries and your avionics. So the next time when I start up by X-Plane, it's saying, well, you've been running your batteries on for a week or so. So that means that your batteries is discharged. Recharge, boom. The joy of flight simulation. All right. Again, batteries on. Yeah, now we got power. I don't like that that many. I like to have more gallons of fuel, obviously. Weight and balance. Yeah. Something like this. Don't have to worry about weight and balance here. We're just on our own. We have enough gallons in each tank, which is great. So that's good. Also check whether the avionics are working. As you can see now, we have a different boot or splash screen here. Actually by the book, which is so cool. Exactly, Avnek. I left it on. That's indeed what's happened, I think. Now, as you can see, a lot of fancy booting screens and stuff, and all the buttons work as they should in terms of a real GNS 530 and a 430, which is really, really great. And still hoping that there would be a panel configuration for the 430 only, but until that time, I will just fly with both. We're not going to fiddle around with it. It is working. We should also check whether the database are up to date. Well, they are currently not, as you can see. 2010 expired, so blah 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 blah, doesn't really matter for our training in this case, but you should take a look at that. Perhaps also as part of the preview, I don't know, if you now push say OK, there are actually checks to do to make sure that the GPS is actually working, which is now also incorporated in the GPS. So for example, now if it's now testing and doing all kinds of test whether it actually receives signals from GPS satellites and stuff. There's actually a few checks that you should go through to make sure that the GPS is actually working, which is great. But anyway, it's working. I'm so glad that it does. We're not going to set that soon because we are going to turn off our avionics soon to start up our engine, just to make sure the systems are working. Let's go down. That's good. Let's turn them up again. Make sure they are working. That's good. We're going to set that very, very soon. Can I also just... Why can I change this to nav? That was also something that I noticed in the previous streams as well. I think I should just be able to do that. Perhaps something is overwritten or overrides the cockpit here based on the settings of my plugin. I should take a look at that. Thank you for the follow, Phone. Thank you. Welcome on the stream. Happy Sunday. All right, annunciator panel. It is working. That's good, and everything is set as it should be. Celsius. Okay, perfect. Avionics off. Let's prime the engine. Little bit of a throttle there. Fuel tanks are set to both. Fuel pump on. 1, 2, 3. You can see the riser of the fuel flow. That's good. Fuel pump off. Again, parking brakes are set. Is anyone walking around? No. So clear prop. And there we are. Oil pressure is already in the green. It's set to 1200 here. So also warm up the engine a bit. Lean for ground. Look at that RPM peak. There it was. Generator on for the charge. Avionics on. We can set it to 1000-ish RPM. Perfect. Okay. So again, the Garmin. That's why it doesn't make sense to set the radios or stuff, because we need to switch off the avionics before engine starts. So again, this is cool. I'm really looking forward to studying the GPS. It's interesting. Serious Gamer, hit CDI on the GPS and it should switch. CDI. And it should switch. Ha 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 ha. Serious. Thank you. And would it also work here? No, because this is the master GPS. You can set which GPS is the master. I don't really know for sure what that means. So I guess this button there then is not working or redundant. You should do that with this button. Okay. Thanks. That's it. Frequencies. Airports. Ramona, ATIS 132.025. Again, we set our own weather, but let's check anyway.
Ramona information Victor.
Victor.
2000 Zulu weather. Wind calm. Visibility 7. Sky clear. Temperature 12. Dew point -6. Altimeter 2992. Arriving
92.
runway 27. Departing runway 27. Advise on initial contact. You have
Victor. We have Victor. Victor. That's good. So we set our altimeter. That's good. Winds calm, and that stuff is also just fine. Then we need our COM1, we need ground, which is 121.65. We're not going to fly with flight following this time. 1.65. And tower is 119.87. 9.87. 121.64, 1.87. Roger. Good. Currently set to ground again. I think probably that should be online. So radios are set. Do we need navs? No, we don't. Again, let's do the briefing. Very short. We are going to request for ground a southbound departure. And what we're going to aim for is this lake with the island in the middle. That means that when we're going to depart, it depends a little bit on what runway we are assigned to. I guess 27, which is usually the runway. Also, I'm going to say to ground that we fly with our own weather, so the PilotEdge controllers know that because the default is that we all fly in real weather. I'm going to say that we fly with our own, so they don't, so they know that we are VFR and we can actually make the flight that we are doing. Anyway, I think we're going to get assigned runway 27, and that means that we're going to, I guess, fly a heading of say 140-ish. Perhaps that's even a little bit too far away from the airport. Hey, this is actually a much better sectional. Why wasn't I able to see this version of the chart before? Something like this. Yeah, 150-ish. That would bring us right to the east side of this particular lake. I don't get it now, but I did get it just a while ago. Because that other chart that we just had a moment ago was much more detailed. I could see the other lake here down. Do you guys know how I can switch between those different sectionals? Well, again, 150 after departure with runway 27 assigned. 3,000 feet. And we need to grab the ATIS of Gillespie, which is 125.45. Let's set that as well, 124.45. 124.45, and that tower frequency we're going to set as soon as we depart it. Very, very basic. Let's also have a quick look at Gillespie itself, at the airport diagram. This is Gillespie. A lot of runways here. Again, I would expect runway 27 here that we might be assigned to land on. There are different transient parkings here, but what we're going to do is just get off the runway and request to depart once more. So we back taxi in a way over the taxiway in this case, and depart again. Well, I don't know if that's going to be the runway that we are assigned to, but I do like to have a look at the traffic pattern altitudes, which is 1300 or 1400. Hey, this is nice. I didn't know that that arrow was actually there. So that means for runway, yeah, so day runway 27 right. Yeah, that's not real.
Language clearance, good morning, Cessna, November 8350 Romeo is...
Turn off, come on. Night, yeah, so it should be only that one. Yeah, so that's, yeah, 1600 feet. So that's a little bit higher than indicated here. Well, this is a nice window. Great. Usually you should look that up in the airport remarks, because you cannot just solely rely on that 1000 AGL rule. Sometimes for some airports the altitude is a little bit different. So 1600 feet is it in case of runway 27, and 17 is 1200. So it's a little bit different. Okay. Okay. And tower we have here on the sectional as well, and we're going to set that. Ready to go. Evanek, the detailed chart is the San Diego tech. Oh, okay. But how can I, well, that's a 4-flight issue, I guess. I'd like to enable it here on my 4-flight here, but, well. Okay, so, runway 27 I expect. Going to fly 150 after departure, if that's going to be the runway. There's just one very basic taxiway here, so not a lot of stuff that we need to prepare. Again, the engine is already nicely warm. We are ready to go, except for my transponder. Mode C, and it's on 1200 because we are VFR. Alrighty then. Sounds good to me. East ramp with our own weather, southbound departure. Okay. Com 1 on, by the way. Have a listen first, so we don't step on anyone. Ah, some other traffic here, that's nice. Did we set that everything stuff? Yeah. Okay. East ramp, on weather, southbound departure. Ramona ground, good day. Skyhawk, Papa Hotel, Tango Any Mike is on the east ramp with our own weather. Like to have a southbound departure. Com 1 is on.
PHTIM ground runway 27, taxi via Alpha, and I didn't copy if you had the weather.
Runway 27 via Alpha, yes, we have the weather. We have our own weather this time. Touching Mike. Okay, 27, as expected, via Alpha. Alrighty, so that's good. Blah 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 blah. Lights we don't need. Everything is ready. Yeah, park and brakes released. Brake test, good. There's some other traffic there, and it's suddenly disconnected. Okay, here we go.
Los Angeles ground, good morning, Cessna, November 8350 Romeo. We're parked in the GA parking area near the Charlie and Charlie 5 intersection, roughly ready for taxi for IFR departure.
Says 8350 Romeo,
Sure,
Los
taxi,
ground,
as you can see.
25 right, taxi via Charlie 5 Bravo.
That's not
Charlie 5 Bravo to runway 25 right, 50 Romeo.
It's always good to, there's a little trick of, well, I've been taxiing to the wrong side for a couple of times, to the wrong runway end. And one trick to do, one trick that can help you, is to again set the heading bug to the runway that you like to. Oh, that's why. And that's why it's so important. There are two things here. One, let me finish that tip. Set the heading bug to the runway that you're assigned to, so you know which heading to taxi for. The second one is I disabled my heading indicator right at the beginning of the flight. You can see that that messes you up, and that's also why as soon as you taxi and make a turn, you need to check for that slip indicator, the turn indicator, and also the heading indicator, so you know that that stuff is actually working. Which I totally forgot. As you can see, those are the subtleties that leave you as soon as you don't fly, which is great. So I need to look at my at my magnetic compass, and as you can see, we're now pointing a little bit to the west, so that means that we are actually on the right side. I was thinking that we're not heading to the right side, but that was because I was not paying attention. So we are currently at the run-up area here, or kind of, so we can do that, I believe. Our engine is warm, yeah. So mixture full in. 1800, no enunciator messages. Good. Left mag. That sounds like a fouled spark.
Cessna 8350 Romeo. Also forgot to mention this is for the I6 rating, please. Sorry about that.
Both. So let's go to
No problem.
2000.
Thanks,
Let's
50 Romeo.
lean until the engine gets rough. There it goes. Let's keep it there for 20 seconds or so to clean off those spark plugs. All right, Tim, pay attention. Focus. Use the force. So that means that once we are departing, I need to fly a heading of 150. I cannot rely on my heading indicator because it's not working. So what I need to do is actually quite hard if I imagine it right now, because with traffic patterns there's so many scenarios where you're actually relying on your magnetic compass, or your heading indicator, I mean. Perhaps it's a little bit of an overkill. It's a good exercise though, but yeah, we cleaned off our spark plugs here. Right one is working as well. Perfect. And good charge. Vacuum also good. All the way down to idle. Looks good to me. Awesome. Okay, so again, runway 27, also see it on the taxiway sign, obviously. But yeah, so that means that it might be a little bit tough, guys. It's fun though. We could do it with the first leg. Just fly on the magnetic compass. I mean, it's okay to have the procedural knowledge of how to fly a particular heading, like we did in the previous streams, using the turn indicator and then a timed turn. But really applying that in a practical, real scenario is really something else. Yeah, Coltrane, that's true as well. Sandhya, why is it at 2000 RPM for 20 seconds you check the mags? Well, I noticed that the mags or the spark plugs were fouled. So when I was doing my mag check, I noticed a more significant RPM drop. Also heard something of the engine which was not a good sound. So I knew that my spark plugs were fouled. So that means that I was not taxiing, or that is a result of the fact that I'm not taxiing with a lean mixture. And so too much fuel has actually gone into the cylinders that is not being burned off. And will stick onto the spark plugs, which ignite the combustion, well, ignite the mixture of air and fuel, and so they become fouled and they do not spark that much because there's stuff on it, there's dirt on it, there's lead on it. And so the way to get rid of that lead that's been forming around those spark plugs is just by heating up the cylinders. So I'm going to 2000 RPM, I more aggressively lean the mixture, so it really builds up heat in the cylinder, and then the lead will just evaporate off of the spark plugs. And I do that for 20 seconds or so, so it's hot enough and long enough. Then I reset and do the mag check again, and to see if I still have that RPM drop, and I didn't have. So that's the procedure to get rid of those fouled spark plugs, and that's also the joy and thrill and educational value of flying the Reality Expansion Pack by Simcoders, because this is actual behavior that a real Cessna Skyhawk would give you, which is great, or A2A if you're flying prepared. Anyways, so okay, runway 27, southbound departure. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Let's switch to tower, and also set the tower of Gillespie, which is 120.7. We can also set the ADAS there. We're not going to listen to that just yet. We're currently at 1400 feet MSL. We're going to fly at 3000. We're going to look for that lake with that island in the middle. Stay to the left side of it on our track.
Ground good. Warning.
And then go to Gillespie
Warm Charlie radio
and land. It shouldn't be that difficult, Tim.
Inform Charlie, we're on the ground, loud and clear.
733 Inform Charlie, thank you. We're at Pacific Aviation with the weather. Like tax takeoff or departure to the west.
So 733 Inform Charlie, runway 27, taxi via Alpha.
27B Alpha, 3 Inform Charlie.
Ramona Tower, Sky Papa Hotel Tango, Mike. Sounding short, 27, Alpha 1, ready for departure southbound.
VHIM, Ramona Tower. Runway 27, clear for takeoff, wind calm.
Clear for takeoff, 27, Papa Hotel Tango, Mike. Well, wind's calm is a nice addition, but we're flying our own weather, so... Okay, landing lights on, strobe lights on, mixtures full in. Fuel tank set to both. No one is on final, no one is on the runway. Again, magnetic compass, Tim, magnetic compass. It's actually a really great exercise to fly partial instruments. There we go, 27 confirms.
Cessna 8350 Romeo, holding short runway 25 right at Bravo, ready for departure.
Airspeed's alive. Engine is looking good.
Cessna 8350 Romeo. Los Angeles Tower, runway
Rotates.
25 right, clip takeoff.
That nose a bit
Clip
down,
takeoff,
VY.
25 right, 50 Romeo.
Goodbye, Ramona. Okay, to the west. So, if I like to go to the south, even exceed actually to the south, we need to go to 150. That means at least 90 degrees and 30. So about 120 degrees. Okay, so that's at least 30-second turn. Interesting. Man, the heading indicator. I mean, really, the attitude indicator and the heading indicator are your best friends in this case. All right. There we go. Get the turn going nicely on VY. Aim for 3,000 feet. That's our cruising altitude. So now the magnetic compass is actually running forward in time, so I need to exceed my turn here and then turn back. Yeah, there's my 150. Nice. So there are all kinds of errors or characteristics almost
Over departure, thanks, 50 Romeo.
of how the magnetic compass behaves. There's Ramona. Again, flying with default weather here in X-plane, and it looks nice, actually.
Morning, Cessna 733, Inform Charlie, short of 27 for departure to the south.
Let's reset our power already a bit.
Romeo, SoCal departure, radar contact.
All right, so what we're going to do, what we're doing right now.
Tower, again, direction of departure.
733, probably, we're gonna take it straight out, but change to the south. We did our transition southbound.
So someone is following us. That's great.
Inform Charlie. Thank you. Wind calm. Runway 27. Cliff takeoff.
27 cliff takeoff there, Charlie. Thank you.
What was I saying? What was I saying? Oh yeah, that I'm also interested in learning a little bit more about noise abatement. I mean, I know that in the airport remarks there are instructions for pilots, and those are airport specific, to avoid particular noise sensitive areas. However, I know that there are also procedures to be more noise friendly as a pilot. And I'm not quite aware of those procedures. So for example, I might imagine, or I can imagine that one procedure of such would be to not go full power, or to reduce power as soon as you don't need it anymore, I guess, with your climb or, well, whatever. Or climb as quickly as possible so you're high enough so that people will not be that much bothered with the noise of the engine. Right, let's lean a little bit. Stay on 1,000 or 3,000. As you can see, a little bit of a terrain issue perhaps ahead. 150. So this should bring us to that lake. What we could do is already listen to the ATIS of Gillespie. Which we do not pick up. ATIS 125.45. That's not good. It's not set correctly. 125.45. Let's listen again.
3 uniform Charlie terminate.
Field information, Victor.
3 uniform Charlie.
900 Zulu weather.
So that's positive Romeo flighting 160, contact SoCal, departure 134.9.
Clear. Temperature 14. Dew point -6. Altimeter 2992.
92.
Arriving runway 35.
You have Victor.
Departing runway 35. Advise on initial contact. You have Victor.
Okay, Victor. Good. Alright, so that's the ATIS information of Gillespie. Sticking to my 150. Heading there. Descending a bit. Don't need to go that fast. Keep my landing lights on. It's also counterintuitive to fly to the right to increase my heading here.
Cessna 8350 Romeo, SoCal departure flighting 130.
Come on, stick at 3000, Tim. Man, again, guys, keep flying because stuff
SoCal approach
leaves you.
733 uniform Charlie VFR request.
Now that lake should be, yeah, exactly. There's the island. It's hard to see.
6634 I-10, say request.
6634
with this haziness.
Flash. I'd like to do the Miramar transition southbound, just departed Mona Airport.
Tim, stay on altitude. My gosh. Keep flying regularly, at least 2 times a day. Because, at least in my case, flight performance gets dusty. Okay, switch. We're already outside of the Delta. Switch now to Gillespie. If I look at the map, that means that Gillespie... Yeah, indeed. We're flying now all the way around. We're going to go to the right soon. So that means that we are southeast to the airport. Okay. 127 was it? Yeah, 120.7.
2 miles northeast of the Miramar Naval.
Just stay a little bit here around the lake because I'd like to contact tower 2 nautical miles before we... terrain advisory, nice! That's new. Man, I'm sloppy. It's unbelievable. Actually having much fun though. So I'm turning around here near the lake because that's my point here where I'd like to contact. Again.
3 and 4 Charlie, thank you. And what's your destination?
We would be north. It's so easy if you like to do your announcement to ATC of where you are relative to the airport. It's so easy to use the heading indicator. But now the heading indicator is off, right? So, and I don't see the entire picture here on my compass rose here on the magnetic compass. I only see, well, only so many degrees. So I need to infer my position relative to the airport based on my sectional. So we're coming from this side. So that means, oh, come on, Tim. We're coming in from the northeast. This is fun. A heading indicator. Oh my gosh, thank you for the follows, guys. Sabu, thank you. Libera, thank you as well. Okay, once more. Focus. Landing lights are still on. Strobe lights are still on. Our altitude is all over the place. Gillespie Tower, Sky Pop Hotel Tango India Mike is 8 miles northeast of the airport, currently at 3000 inbound for a full stop. We have the weather.
Hotel Tango India Mike, Gillespie Tower in a right base, runway 27 right. And clear to land. Wind calm.
Right base 27 right, clear to land 27 right, Papa Hotel Mike. Alright, back to 150-ish. A little bit more that direction. That means that now I'm going to look for a road. I can see a road already here, but again, what I'm noticing right now is that there are many roads. And the only more prominent roads are shown depicted on the sectional. But when you're flying, you might think, well, is this that road, or is it a highway? What is it? Which is actually quite hard. So let's fly a little bit further on. And I guess this is also why, which I didn't do, is use the damn clock. Where is Snipe when you need him? Where is Sniper? Because with a timer, with my clock, I know when to expect the road, to see the road. Let me see. 27 right. And that was 1600? Yeah, 1600 feet. Okay, so we can already start the descent to 1600. I can see a valley here, but nothing like a proper highway yet. Flying drill. No, this is not a suction failure. This is just, indeed, as Evanek says, it's just a stuck or not working mechanical failure of the heading indicator. This seems more like a... Yeah, that looks like a highway. Awesome, so that's it. So that means I need to fly a little bit to the right here, stay north of that highway. I see a other lake here, which is actually much more prominent.
Josh approach. Cleared to Palomar Airport.
Yeah, that's that lake. That's that one what I was talking about.
Lake Hughes.
Okay.
Sector 459.
So still flying a little bit to the west then, if I look at the charts.
Oceanside.
Like this.
Correct. Maintain.
I guess.
10,000. Expect 10,000.
That would bring us.
Departure frequency.
Yeah, 22.
126.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. And this is hard.
124.55.
Straight in, we're already clear to land.
Squawk 7140, hold for release.
Yeah, this is the chart that I like. This road, yeah, it should bring me to 27 eventually. Okay. It is so much more challenging, guys, just to fly on visuals. My gosh.
Oracle Romeo, repack, correct. R3 uniform, Charlie, contact Montgomery
Where
Tower,
is Gillespie? I would expect to see it all the way.
7, correction, 119.2.
1600, we can further descend. Where is Gillespie? Because I see some hills here. Can I look that up?
Roger, good afternoon. Skyline 733, uniform Charlie, just off the Miramar transition.
Hard to see any hills here. On the sectional at least.
Scout 73 uniform Charlie, Montgomery Tower, enter right base, runway 28 right. And Clitterland, you are leaving.
Where is the airport?
Right,
I've already over.
3 uniform Charlie, thank you.
Should be on my. There it is. I can see a tower. There it is. There's runway 27 right. Guys. Alright. Mixture. Full in.
Radio check. Loud and clear.
There it is. My gosh.
Pfizer, Romeo contact, SoCal approach 128.1.
We didn't need to report. Usually the controller might instruct you to report when you're on final, so he has a last call or a last check to give you clearance to land, but this time around there's no one around. Around Gillespie at least.
3 uniform Charlie, we're gonna have to extend the downwind just a little bit.
1 notch flap.
3 uniform Charlie, sir.
4 wides, far too high.
9350 Romeo, SoCal approach, Xiaomi altimeter 299 forward, advise you of weather report request.
Terrain advisory, nice. Let's use a little bit of forward slipping here.
Specifies early clear Seal Beach, cross Seal Beach,
get
4000, clear out.
into the white band while we are descending. Good. Out. And touch your flaps. Good. Again, much too high. Man, this is so sloppy, guys. .27 is corresponding with my compass. I didn't even check that. My gosh. I should fly more often. Nose up trim. Let's see if I can still land. Still too fast, too much energy. So a long flare. Nice, flaps up. Good, good, good. I guess I can just run over this runway, I guess. If you need to have permission to do that, I guess not. Oh yeah, sorry guys. I will fix that MooBot stuff there. I think it's even just a default setting. And we are clear. Okay. Back to 1000. Standing lights off, strobe lights off, lean for ground. Flaps are already up. And alright, roger that. We are with tower. I guess he's just gonna say that we need to monitor tower. But let's just set ground anyway. 121.7. 121.7. Yeah, I'm currently at 120.7. Yeah. Okay.
3 Uniform Charlie, turn around back Golf, text back transit.
To Uniform Charlie. Taxi transient. I'm actually on mic right now. Cross runway 28 left at mic. And taxi parking via Golf and the hotel.
To your left of Mike, yeah, the scenery doesn't include that taxiway change, my bad. And my Golf Hotel to transit 3 Uniform Charlie.
Gillespie Tower, Skypop Hotel Tango Mike is clear of 27 right. We'd like to back taxi to 27 right for a westbound departure, if that's okay.
DHIM runway 27 right to via Charlie, cross runway 17 at Charlie.
27 right via Charlie, and we'll cross 17 at Charlie as well. Pop Hotel Tango Mike. Okay, good. Let's get going.
PHM, you usually want to back taxi. Do you want to actually taxi on the runway?
No, sorry, we just like to taxi via the taxiway.
No problem.
Roger.
Via the taxi back to the runway is usually called a taxi back to avoid confusion with a back taxi.
I totally understand my mistake.
Yeah, no problem.
Alright, so back taxi. So back taxi means that you're actually taxiing on the runway, like with an untowered airport, for example. When there are no taxiways, you can back taxi on the runway to get back to the ramp or just to do another takeoff. And it's confusing in my case here because I'm not really back taxiing. I'm just taxiing back to 27 right, which is different. All right, that's runway 17 at Charlie again. We are responsible as well. Make sure that the controller is not sleeping on us. Flying drill, that's right. Pretty much any small GA aircraft has a GPS. Still though, for the practice, purely for training purposes, it's quite a different exercise when you cannot rely on your GPS. And in my case, I'm actually quite used to already to ignore the GPS.
R404 Echo Romeo, release for departure clearance. What if not off in 5 minutes? If not off in 5 minutes, advise intention to this frequency not later than 8 minutes. Frequency change approved.
At the same time, though, only flying slant alpha does not prepare you for real world flying, as I totally agree with you that it's as educational and as important to also learn how to fly with a GPS. But just for training purposes, I agree with Evanek there that it is cheating when you're using your GPS in that way. Although it's also quite interesting actually to also fly with the GPS while you are practicing PilotEdge, especially when you're lost, to see how did I get lost and where am I, and then to see the things outside of your cockpit in the terrain, in terms of terrain or whatever, using the GPS. It can actually be an aid as well to learn how to better rely on your landmarks. But it's just all about what your purpose of training is or flying is, obviously. Okay, now before we're going to request a departure of 27 right, I'm going to rehearse our departure because we're now going to go to Montgomery. Also a first visit to Montgomery, which is going to be a very short hop. And I'm hoping that not that much of a navigational challenge. But still with this flight. But I'm a little bit off today because I didn't fly that much last week, I think. I mean, we managed to get here, but it's not as smooth as it should go. All right. Well, winds were calm, but let's just taxi all the way around. Less. Okay. Again, we can do a mag check. Let's just do one. Our engine is warm, but still. 1800s. Messages, everything is still okay. And you can see my spark plugs are already fouled, so that means that I wasn't as efficient or effective with flying with a leaned mixture. So again, 2000 RPM. Heat up those cylinders. Heat those up even more until the engine gets rough. Not too rough, because otherwise you just quit the engine. Something like this, I don't know. Keep it there for 20 seconds. Okay, while we're doing that, we're going to depart Gillespie. We're going to go to the west, which is great. There is Montgomery. We're currently at tower still, so we can set the tower of Montgomery, which is 119.2. And ADIS is 126.9. Alright, full mixture. Back to 1800s. Left mag. Looks good. Back to both. Right, back to both. Also, I also suggested to Simcoders to change that weird mechanical fouled spark plug sound, which now it shouldn't be that metallic-y. They're going to work on that in the next version, I hope. Ah, Coltrane, yes, you can just ask for a full stop taxi back to tower when you're coming in. Yeah, that's also something that you can do. Yeah, thanks. Libera, what kind of setup do you have for monitors? I have two monitors. I have one primary monitor for my flight sim, and I have one additional that's solely dedicated for streaming. So I see my own stream on top, I see the chat, I see notifications, and that's it. And I also have my iPad obviously here in front of me. So we go to 1000, Tim. Nice to burn off fuel here. Talking about noise abatement. Okay, so here we are. Again, we are going to depart to the west. Well, again, we need to ask for a early transition of the radios, because we are already at around 10 nautical miles out from Montgomery before we reach Montgomery Delta class, or at least the border here. So I'm going to depart and then immediately ask for an early transition of the radios. And I guess we should already tune into the ADIS as well while we are still on the ground, because we practically have no time to listen to the ADIS while we are departing. So let's do that right now.
That was 126.9.
Yeah, that's already set. So let's have a listen.
Montgomery FLD
0404 Echo Romeo
information
Josh departure, ident.
2000 Zulu weather. Wind calm, visibility 7. Sky clear, temperature 14, dew point -6. Altimeter 2992. Arriving runways 23, 28 right, 28 left. Departing runways 23,
We have
28 right, 28 left. Advise on initial contact. You have Victor.
Victor. We got again Victor. Okay, it's a Victor day. All right. So that's good. Tower was 119.2. That's set. So we're going to depart, switch frequencies to tower, and say, here we are.
2000.
Then I'd like to know, Montgomery is Mike Yankee Foxtrot, I believe. Yeah, it is. Traffic pattern altitude is 1400. Okay. And I'd also like to see the taxiways. There's Montgomery. That's a fat runway. Okay, so I guess we are going to get assigned 28 straight in with a clear to land. That's fine as well. And then I do like to go back to parking and rehearse our flight from Montgomery to Brown, because we need to do that VFR corridor, and I'd like to be a little bit more prepared with that. So 28, I guess via Foxtrot at the end, or perhaps a little bit more early would be better, because I don't need to cross over all of those runways. So let's aim for getting off at Charlie, for example, and get there to transient parking. Okay, that's good. That's rehearsed as well, so that means that we are ready to go. And we are coming from the east. Coming from the east. Okay. 1400. Okay, good. This is nice, these short hops. This is cool. And 120, yeah, that's correct, right? 120.7 is still the Tower of Gillespie. Yep. Westbound departure. Gillespie Tower, Sky Papa Hotel Tango Mike is holding short to 27 right for a westbound departure.
PHTI Gillespie Tower, straight out departure approved, runway 27 right, clear for takeoff.
Straight out approved, 27 right, clear for takeoff, Papa Hotel Tango Mike. Hey Dad, good to see you. Alright, landing lights on, strobe lights on, mixtures full in, fuel tanks set to both, trim is set. No one is on. Final, nope. No one is on the runway either. Here we go. So we can fly to 2,000 feet. Why climb that much? Because we need to descend to traffic pattern altitude anyhow. There we go. A little bit of right rudder. Airspeed is alive. Engine is still looking good. 40. 50. And 60. And rotate. There we go. It's a nice area here. Gillespie. First visits ever. Nice. Still looking forward to some more fancy scenery here. I think this is still default, but... Alright, only flying on the magnetic compass. Gillespie Tower, Sky Papa Hotel Tango, and Mike would like to switch frequencies to Montgomery, please.
PHTI frequency change approved.
Frequency change approved. Papa Hotel Tango, Mike. Switch 119.2. Right? I'm not certain. I'm not feeling 119.2. Right. Let's stick it around 1500. We might not be fine looking at the terrain in front of me. Go a little bit to the left here. Well, perhaps we are. Should be 500 feet above any non-congested areas and 1,000 feet above any urban areas or the highest obstacle. So let's go to 2,000 anyway. Okay. We need to prepare for landing here. So, where is... So it's a little bit to the south. There's a highway that we're gonna pass. Little bit. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, Cowles Mountain, that's here in front of me. Looks good. I can see a highway there in front of us. Okay, good.
Report Romeo contact Los Angeles Center 125.27.
Montgomery Tower, Sky Papa Hotel Tango India Mike is 8 miles east of the airport, currently at 2000 with the weather inbound for a full stop.
Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, Montgomery Tower. Make straight in runway 28 right and report 3 mile final.
Straight in 28 right and report 3 miles out, Papa Hotel Mike. Okay, good. Straight in. So, there's the road. Yeah.
404 Camille, Los Angeles Center, Palmdale, altimeter.
Let's not go too fast, Tim.
906.
There's that road. It should be a little bit... Oh. Let me see. There's one to the right. I think... Yeah, this is the road. Let me see. There's the road. Don't go too fast. It's so hard. I don't even see it. Can I see a tower beacon light or something like that? That's also descend again. There's the highway. There's the crossing. Golf park. Just over the nose. Don't see any visual mark or reporting point there. Should be somewhere to our right. Ah, there it is. There's the airports. Yeah. Why don't I see a beacon light or something? 27 right. 28. What did we get? 28. Yeah.
Good morning. Cessna 733 uniform Charlie.
Okay.
182
Straight
Slots
in.
Alpha. Like
One
to
at your
return to
flaps.
Santa Monica with Yankee.
It's so hard to see. Look at that airport. I mean, again, the value of flying with photoreal. Now let's see if that confirms with our magnetic compass. Ah, Ivanek, thanks. Beacon is only on from sunset to sunrise.
Montgomery clearance on request.
Uniform Charlie.
Montgomery Tower, Sky Papa Hotel Tango Mike is on final. 28.
DHM runway 28 right, clear line.
Clear land, 28 right. Papa Hotel Tango Mike.
So that's 3 for Charlie, destination Santa Monica.
One at your
3
flaps.
uniform Charlie affirmative.
So that's 3 for Charlie's aircraft type. Correction, say aircraft type.
Slant Golf.
And I also heard Keith a long time ago say that you're actually insane or not safe or even not a you cannot even consider yourself a good pilot or a safe pilot if you don't fly with a GPS in the San Diego or LA downtown area.
So that's 3 uniform Charlie Santa Monica Airport.
Which I totally agree, obviously.
270. Radar vectors Oceanside. Victor 23. Dana. Victor 363. Beijing.
Still a bit too fast. Let's get that first taxiway there to the left so we can park somewhere around here.
Departure frequency 119.6, squawk 6266.
A little bit nose up trim.
3 Uniform Charlie is cleared to the Santa Monica Airport beyond departure. Fly heading 270, radar vectors Oceanside, Victor 23, Dana, Victor 363,
right.
AG, Victor 186, darts, direct. Pod maintain 3000, expect
Nice.
6000.
Well, landings are okay.
Departure frequency 119.6.
That was Charlie.
6266.
Is there also a
Uniform Charlie
taxiway exit here just in front? Yeah, I think so. There's a taxi line here. Very good. Keep that speed going. And off of the runway at Gulf. Okay. And come to a stop. Alright. So, a little bit of a power in. Lean for ground. Landing lights off. Strobe lights off. Parking brakes. Set them. Okay. Good. Take your time. Take your time, Tim. Yeah, so, plates. Here we are. We're currently at Gulf. That's interesting. I guess it's now called Mike. Gulf is on the other side, but... Oh, no, we are on Mike. Yeah. This little piece up to this intersection is called Gulf. Is called Mike, and then here it is called Gulf again. Okay. Just a transient parking. Okay. And 28 right, wasn't it? Yeah. Montgomery Towers, Skype Hotel Tango Mike is clear of the runway. Like to taxi to transient parking.
PHTIM. Cross runway 28 left at Mike. Taxi parking via Gulf 1 Hotel and monitor ground on the other side.
We're going to taxi across over runway 28 left via Mike, via Gulf 1 and Hotel, and we'll monitor ground 1 via the other side. Papa Tango Mike. Okay. There we go. There we go. So that means it's obviously when we're gonna cross a runway, that's tower territory. That's why they like to know what we're doing. Apparently they call it, or apparently afterwards, or when we transitioned here from this runway area or tower territory, here we get to hotel. And this is where we're going to monitor ground, which I should actually prepared already, which is 118.22.
33 Uniform Charlie over at transit taxi takeoff IFR departure.
22.
Cessna 33
Switch.
Uniform Charlie. Montgomery ground. Stand up.
There we go. 118.22. Yes, that's correct.
Cessna Uniform Charlie, do you have the Skyhawk eastbound on hotel?
That's me.
Uniform Charlie negative.
I'm here. I'm here. I'm gonna park next to you. So the tower is now waiting, I guess, for me to park. So he can say no factor.
Uniform Charlie, runway 28 right, taxi via Hotel Alpha.
28 right via Hotel Alpha, 3 Uniform Charlie.
Taxi all the way around. Okay. Good. Yeah, so avionics off, cut off. Off. Parking brakes off, prevent cross-feed door open, but we did not complete our flight yet because we are going to Brown eventually. Just have a very quick stretch here. My gosh, I'm out of shape. Thank you, Aika. Great flying, Tim. Well, I'm not too sure about that. All right. So, what we're going to do something interesting, something new. We are going to fly from, next, we're going to fly from Montgomery to Brown, which is all the way down at the border of Mexico. And we're going to do that by, well, not really transitioning through the Bravo, but actually in between the Bravo, because the architects of San Diego International Airspace have actually left open a tunnel almost of airspace that we can fly through as VFR pilots. And as you can see, it's depicted over here. From the service up to 3,300, but then it only starts at 4,700. So in between 3,300 feet and 4,700 feet, there's acro airspace that we can fly through without chatting with ATC at all. There is a frequency though that we need to monitor. So let's just go to that particular. You can see this is the routing. So we're going to overfly, but it's actually also written down. See the VFR corridor, as you can see, above 3,000 and below 4,700, and currents remain right of the northwest. So yeah, so always remain to the right, irrespective of whether you're going north or south, right? So we are going to stay here to the west side of that dashed line, and it might be quite scenic actually. We're going to overfly that bay area, which is the San Diego Bay, which is going to be cool, and overfly this airport as well. So in between 3,500 and 4,500, yeah, well, that's a little bit weird, obviously, because we're going to fly to the east. So we need to fly a uneven numbered, so I would say 3,500, which only scratches the bottom minimum there of the altitude, but perhaps we can also fly 3,600 or 700, and that would be fine as well. So let's say 3,700. And no communications or clearances with ATC are required while transitioning the VFR corridor. However, frequency 126.05 is provided for exchange of information between those pilots using the corridor. Yeah, so that's the CTAF frequency, you could say, that we can use to announce, hey, here we're coming from that, we're making use of that VFR corridor, and we're going from the north to the south at 3,700. And then we're going to overfly this bay, and then here we're going to overfly Imperial Beach as well, the Delta up to 1,500, and eventually we actually need to fly over Brown, because if we already started descent, we fly into that Delta of Imperial. So we need to overfly Brown at 3,700. You can see here the altitude changes. We'd like to be 4,500 and below. So we can also already descend from 3,700 to, well, 3,000 or so. Doesn't really matter that much, those 700 feet. We can just overfly Brown at 3,700. Once we are on the east side, we just circle down or just enjoy the scene here. Not crossing the border line, the border here of the United States, and circle down to traffic pattern altitudes. Okay, Brown, and that is Sierra Delta Mike. Sierra Delta Mike. Oh. Sierra Delta Mike. Thanks for the follow, Steven. Thank you. Peace Sunday. Thank you guys. Derek, thank you as well. Welcome on board. Brown. Never been to Brown either. Very basic. Again, 2 runways. Okay, that's nice. 1,500 feet. That's an estimation of the traffic pattern altitude. Let's go to the airport facility or airport remarks. TPA. For runway 08 left, 26 right, it's going to be 1,500 feet MSL. And 08 right and 26 left, it's going to be 1,100 feet. Well, 26 left is the smaller runway, wasn't it? Taxiways. Yeah, so the 26 left is a smaller runway, and that's also the low altitude traffic pattern there. So I guess we're going to get 26 right. That's what I'm expecting here. So that means, what was it, 1,500 feet? Yeah, traffic pattern altitude. Okay, so when we are flying at 3,700 over flying brown, we need to circle down to 1,500 and then enter the pattern once more. Okay, well, that's basic. Anything else that we need to consider? Well, we're going to fly from Montgomery. Let me also look up the official chart here of the San Diego class Bravo. Isn't there a tech chart of San Diego? I think there is. Flight charts? No, we have that already. Handbooks. My gosh. That's 4-flight for you. Legends. Supplements. This one I like. Boom. Boom. Yeah, this is the charts. So again, this is the transition that we're gonna do, and we need to stay on the right side. So we're actually gonna overfly San Diego International, which is fun. At 3,700. Again, this is the same text on top that we just read. Frequency 126, and just do our announcement. And there's nothing else. We don't need to chat with ATC at all, so we can just head over to San Diego and overfly. Okay, weird. Yeah, pilots transitioning the VFR corridor are cautioned against premature descent. I can imagine. Occasional parachute jump activity allowed in this area. All right. So either way, we're going to follow this coastal, this San Diego Bay, all the way down to the south at 3,700. Nice. Really looking forward to this part of the flight. 777, I'm thinking about going to Brown at some point. There is a guy there that will give you a tail wheel enforcement for really cheap. Oh, that's cool. Endorsement, I guess what you mean. We enforce a tail wheel flight on you. Okay, so that's going to be the flight. Very, very basic. I still feel a little bit, well, insecure about just departing Montgomery there on top and just heading to San Diego, just switch to a frequency without having any clearance and just head over. But we're just flying through Echo airspace. It's built in, so it does make sense. It does also mean, there goes that pilot that we just saw on the ramp. And that's also why I love PilotEdge. It's just, you're really flying together. You're constantly flying on multiplayer. It's so cool. Perhaps we do need to request a early frequency change again. But we're not really obliged to chat with anyone, so we can also just fly out of the Delta. And we need to stay at the west side of the San Diego airport, because we need to stay on that right side of that dashed line, right? You can already see it depicted also here on the sectional. So that means west side, so almost like to fly, not overfly the numbers on the right side. We really need to be very precise here. So if we fly this, we're already bashing another Bravo airspace, which is not good. So it's in the middle, midway, midfield, and staying a little bit to the right side of that. And I'm aiming for this bay here that we're then going to catch. And that would work, I think. Yeah, I just switch over to the frequency and that's it. Just making sure I don't oversee anything because it's too simple. And usually when things are too simple to me, I'm forgetting something important. Okay, let's just do it. Let's just do it. Clear, clear, clear. We are currently at Montgomery. I do like to have the plate of... yeah, so there's not a lot of stuff going on at Brown, so we can forget about that for just a minute. And let's go to, again, Montgomery. because perhaps we're going to get a more complex taxi. We are currently parked. 25 pixels. Here. So I guess we're going to get assigned 28 right once more. So it's going to be Hotel Alpha 28 right. Or perhaps 28 left as well, because we're just small GA. Either way, that's the departure. I'm going to request a departure to the south. Perhaps then the ground is going to say, well, what are you up to? Because San Diego is to the south. And we might say that we're going to fly the VFR corridor. Perhaps it's also good to just mention that to the ground controller either way. Specifically because the PilotEdge controller on PilotEdge, they also control all of the other seats, right? The approach control and the centers and the towers and everything. So it's also a nice heads up to let the current controller know on PilotEdge that we know that what we are doing. Yeah. So with ground, I'm going to say southbound departure, VFR corridor to the south. Yeah, that's nice to include as well. Okay. Doors closed. No system check is needed. I think that everything is working just fine. So batteries on. Let's set this stuff to normal. That's okay. Okay. We should not prime the engine because the engine is already primed. There's still fuel in the engine, so that's good. So what we can do then is a little bit of throttle, and let's just start up right away. Parking brakes are set. Okay, good. Clear prop. Nice. There we are. To 1200. Generator on. Infraground. There's the peak. Back to 1000. Avionics on as well. Mode C is still active. 1200 is VFR. Again, we're not flying with the heading indicator. It's disabled. Which is perhaps I'm gonna enable it this time around. Let me see. It was fun though. Pilot indicator. Okay. Oh. Again, looking forward to Mrs. Uncertified jumping aboard as well, and giving some unexpected system failures. Yes, enter. All right, so that set. Engine, you can see, was already still a little bit warm. It was slowly cooling down, so that's nice as well. And no lights and stuff. We are ready. We are currently on COM 136.97, which I don't think is good. No. Lights. Where are we? There are we. Tower, yeah, ground is 118.22. 118.22. Switch, tower is going to be 119.2. 119.2. And ATIS was 126.9. Let's have a listen anyway.
Montgomery FLD information whiskey. 2100 Zulu weather. Wind calm. Visibility 7.
Good.
Sky clear.
Good.
Temperature 14. Dew point -6. Altimeter 2992.
2.
Arriving runways 2.
Set my own weather, by the way, so it's not a surprise that the altimeter is still the same. Okay, that's the expected taxi that we're going to get. 118.22, and tower is already set. As soon as we are near the runway, we're going to swap over frequencies to tower, and then also set the tower of no, not the tower. We're going to set that frequency for the VFR corridor And I also like to have the ATIS frequency of brown already. Just to be prepared. Brown is over here. Also, need to make sure that I'm not going to confuse brown for that other airport here. Jen Rodriguez International, which is a little bit to the south. Because I really have a talent to misidentify
Southwest Towers,
airports.
210 Alpha Romeo, clear of runway 29er.
132.35.
I'd like to go to transient parking. 10 Alpha Romeo.
210 Alpha Romeo, taxi parking via Alpha. Have a good day.
Parking via Alpha, thank you.
Okay. Nice. Southbound, yeah, southbound departure. We're currently at the transient parking. Transient parking, southbound departure, VFR corridor to the south. Perhaps, if I'm saying that, I might get flight following, because it sounds like flight following. That's such a request, but I don't need one. Yeah, just rehearsing what I need to say. I'm still feel so dusty. Just I don't know. Really need to start flying again much more often, guys. Montgomery grounds, good day. Skyhawk Papa Hotel Tango Mike, transient parking with the weather, looking for a southbound departure via the VFR corridor down south.
DHTI Montgomery ground. You ready to taxi now?
We are ready for taxi, yeah.
DHTI on Roger, 28 right taxi via Hotel Alpha.
28 right via Hotel Alpha Papa Tango Mike. Hotel Alpha, as I expected. Okay, good.
Torrance Ground, Skyhawk 545 Charlie.
Again.
Ready to taxi for an east departure from the west hangar.
Parking brakes released, brakes work. This time around, we're gonna make a turn. And slip indicator is working.
545 Charlie.
Turn indicator is working, and my heading indicator is not working. Ha! He did his checks. This is hotel. Good. Big jets here.
Skyhawk 5 Charlie, verify that's your full call sign.
Corresponds
Skyhawk
with my
5,
magnetic
4,
compass. We're now
5,
taxiing
Charlie.
east, opposite direction. So again, departure 3,700.
Skyhawk 545 Charlie, Torrance
Switch to
ground,
that
taxi,
frequency.
Runway 29 right, taxi via Alpha Juliet.
29 right via Alpha Juliet for 45 Charlie.
Las Vegas ground, good morning, Cactus 780 is coming out of the ramp at Golf 1 and Golf. Information is Foxtrot, and we're ready for taxi.
Cactus 90, correction, Cactus 780 Las Vegas ground, stand by 1. Report Romeo contact, SoCal approach 127.4.
This might be 28 left. Yeah, that's 28 left. Okay. But we need to go a little bit further because we need to go to 28 right. Yeah, the DA40, that's also a wonderful airplane. So I've been looking at a few YouTube videos.
404
Real pilots flying the DA40.
Catalina altimeter 29er, 9er,
And it's so pretty. My gosh. If I would have had the money, I guess I still would go for a Skyhawk, but a nice fancy Skyhawk. I don't know what it is. I'm just in love with the Skyhawk. But
taxi via Golf
next,
Delta.
It would be the
1
Diamond.
left via Golf Delta, Cactus 780.
Or the DA40, I mean. Coming up to 28 right. Yeah, Skylane, that's also a wonderful airplane. I agree.
American 1473, like pickup VFR at Las Vegas.
Skylane.
American 1470 Las Vegas, correction, Los Angeles clearance clear to Las Vegas.
Run up area.
Airport. Are you able to do the Orca 1 departure?
Yeah, we can take the Orca 1 for American 1473.
Thanks for the follow,
1473,
Turkish.
Vegas
Thank
Airport,
you.
Orca 1 departure.
Welcome on board.
Mice in transition as followed.
Engine is warm, obviously.
5000. Departure frequency
1800s. No unassociated messages. Everything is stable and in the green. And again,
Orca
spark
1, mice in
plugs.
transition as filed. Maintain 5000.
I'm starting to think that it's a little bit too sensitive, but
2 and spark 4114 for American 1473.
don't know. Perhaps I'm just really bad at leaning for ground and flying. So 2000 again, 2000 RPM. Lean until the engine gets rough. There it goes, and keep it there for 20 seconds. Meanwhile, we're gonna depart. Runway 28 right, 3700. We request an early frequency change over to. I'm gonna already switch over to tower, by the way. And that frequency
Las
was.
Vegas ground, good morning, Southwest 842, coming up on spot 10, taxi Foxtrot.
Thanks for the follow. Highway. Thank you.
Southwest 42.
126 points.
Right, taxi via Charlie Bravo.
26 right via Charlie Bravo, Southwest
0 5. Okay. $3,700. Make full in. Back to 1800s. And again, mag check. Left mag. Sounds good. Back to both.
Service ground.
Right.
Skyhawk 210
Good.
Alpha
Back
Romeo.
to both.
Transient parking with Zulu. Request traffic
Idle.
pattern work.
Engine
Cat
doesn't
3.
quit. Good. Alright. One last check.
210 Alpha Romeo. Southwest ground runway 29 taxi via Alpha.
427. Yeah, that's a good altimeter setting.
210 Alpha Romeo.
Because we're going to fly, we need to be very precise with our altitude, obviously now. So I just need to double check that my altimeter is set correctly. Okay, that's good. So we are ready to go. Straight out departure, southbound departure, 3,700. Is there anything we need to look for? Yeah, we need to get at 3,700 before this line. So I need to extend my straight out departure here for just a tiny bit. Take my time, turn around, climb, and if I do not make it in time, I can also just further go to the west, because you can see this Bravo starts at 4,800, which is still above that 3,700. So until I reach that altitude, cruising altitude, then I'm going to make that turn towards San Diego. Stay on the west side all the way around.
Torrance Tower, Skyhawk 545.
Interesting.
Charlie, holding short 29 right.
Scout 545 Torrance Tower runway 29 right, clear for takeoff, wind calm.
Clear for takeoff, 29 right.
Ivan Ecker's also going for Skyhawk. Nice. Join the club. Montgomery, right? Yeah. Montgomery Tower, Skyhawk Papa Delta Tango Mike is holding short 28 right at Alpha, ready for departure southbound.
HTIM, Montgomery Tower, southbound departure approved, runway 28 right, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 28 right southbound, Papa Delta Mike. Alright, good. Landing lights on, strobe lights on, mixture is already full in. Trim is set, fuel tanks are set. Alrighty.
Las Vegas Tower.
Flying over
Captain
San Diego
780,
International.
coming up on 19 left, ready for departure.
Captain 780 Las Vegas Tower, runway 19 left.
No one there.
Left, clear
Okay,
for
Tim.
takeoff.
Come on.
Cleared for takeoff.
Last leg.
Yeah,
Make
Las
it
Vegas
count.
Tower, good morning, Southwest 842, holding short here, 25 right, we are ready.
Corresponds with our
Southwest
magnetic
842,
compass.
Las Vegas Tower.
Right rudder, full power.
Hold short, traffic departing 19 left.
All right, we'll hold short,
Airspeed is
25 right,
alive.
Southwest 842.
Engine is in the green. 50, 60, and rotate. There we go. Goodbye, Montgomery. Down trim. BY, good. Still, I'm noticing that I'm looking at my heading bug here, my heading indicator. This thing doesn't work, Tim. Magnetic compass. Okay, we're doing great. 1,000 feet. Keep going. Thanks for the follow, James. Welcome on board. Happy Sunday.
Southwest 42, runway 26, right, line up away.
Right, line up away 26 right, southwest 842.
So, if I look at my sectional here, oh, not too much nose up. There is a highway going south.
210 Alfa Romeo, holding short.
I could go to that highway. So I leave the Delta, follow that highway on the east side downwards, and that would bring me right
21005.
to the airport.
Thank you.
Cactus 780 contacted.
Going to departure, Cactus 780, so long.
210 Alpha, San Luis Tower, runway 29, cliff, take off, left, close traffic, approved, report midfield down in each town.
Clear to take off, report midfield, left traffic. Skyhawk 210.
Already another airport there. I mean, it is crowded here in San Diego, my gosh. So that would be Miramar? Yeah, Miramar.
Contact. 404, contact SoCal approach 128.1.
I can already see the coast. And I can already see the highway, I think.
Los Angeles clearance, is it possible for American 14 to pick up a different I-4? We can't pick up the Orca 1.
And we're not at 3,700 just yet.
Stand by 1.
Keep that climb going. We're not on VY, so we're not climbing that efficiently. Come on. A bit nose up. Climb, climb, climb. This is the highway.
7,000, John Wayne altimeter 295.
So that means that we are there.
Approach 128.1.
It means that we also outside of the Delta currently. So we can just circle around. And again, in the real world, I think I would have flown with flight following because
Ground Southwest 352.
many VFR pilots are flying in this corridor or in this chunk of airspace.
Cessna 733 uniform Charlie SoCal approach, John Wayne altimeter 299.
So we need to be very, very vigilant here. Okay, 700 feet to go.
Southwest 842 departure.
Here's the highway again.
Southwest 352 Palm Springs ground. Go ahead.
Like to pick up
Keep
my
that climb
IFR
going,
to
Tim.
Phoenix.
Any call clear and delivery.
Roger that.
Highway, good.
Southwest 842 Las Vegas departure.
Coming up to 3,700. All right. Good. Stabilize. Landing lights off.
Palm Springs clearance delivery, Southwest 352.
Nose down.
To pick up my IFR to Phoenix.
Okay. Gonna stay east of this highway. I don't know if you guys can see. Ah, there's San Diego. And there's the city.
Palm Springs clearance on request.
Awesome. Awesome.
Clearance
awesome.
on request,
Awesome.
Southwest
Awesome.
352.
Still not trimmed him. First things first. Lean. Okay. Switch to that weird CTF frequency. Alright. This is weird. So I'm just heading towards San Diego International, Bravo airspace. And if I could visualize the Bravo airspace chunks, there's some above, there's some beneath, and we are flying just in between. Be precise with our altitudes here. again, and I also, that's why it's not good to keep that highway to the right of us, because I cannot really spot it that clearly. So that's a little bit of a bummer. So let's look outside. I can see there is the airport. There's the bay. Barely see it. So we're gonna do. How am I gonna announce this radio? VFR corridor frequency, or what is it called? San Diego VFR corridor. San Diego VFR corridor traffic. Yellow Skyhawk is flying currently 5 miles north of San Diego International Airport at 3,600. We're going to fly the VFR corridor all the way down to the south at 3,700. VFR San Diego VFR corridor traffic. Just to be clear, and I hope I was. Alright, still, there's San Diego. I can see the runway there. Reminds me of my Cat 11 rating here. Nice base lag here when you're flying the pattern. You're flying towards the city. See the green marks there. Nice. Without chatting with ADC, guys. This is actually a real world procedure. It's very hazy. Good speed, everything looks fine. Alright, just cross the field. Alright, so now what we're doing is following this path. We're taking a little bit to the left side of the bay here. So we're flying the right side of the bay, you could say, but the inner side here. Don't hear anyone on this frequency, so we are totally alone. Siux Flyer, yeah, that's the current meter. Well, I'm flying with my own weather today, just to make possible this VFR flight. With an overcast, it's quite hard to remain VFR, depart and arrive. Okay, so we continue this path until eventually that bay stops. And we make that left turn, which is going to be something like 8 nautical miles. Now, we need to be very, very sure that we're not going to fly over the border of Mexico. Ah, this is cool. Nicely trimmed. The San Diego Bay. A helipad? That is interesting. Perhaps we're too high to see the structure around it, or... Engineering's looking good. So far so good. 777, honestly, if you do fly over the border, it's not that big of a deal. Oh, is that true? Perhaps it's more big of a deal if you land in an airport without having some kind of permission. I mean, an airport outside of the border. but not in terms of airspace. I don't know, honestly, but I would imagine that it would be a big deal to cross the border there. Or the cartel. Yeah. You can see the end there, the south end of the bay. So let's aim for that point. If I look at the VFR charts, not this chart, but that chart, you can see that these routes are also obviously confirming the same kind of routing. Also make sure that I don't descend too much. A little bit of a nose up trim there. So from the south there, south point of the bay, we're gonna fly over to Brown. That's the idea. Let's prepare for that, by the way. What is the frequency of Brown ATIS? That's 132.35. Already set. Switch. Let's have a listen.
Brown FLD Muni Information
Whiskey.
2100 Zulu weather. Wind calm. Visibility 7. Sky clear. Temperature 13. Dew point -6. Altimeter 2992.
Still 902 because I set my own weather. Good.
08 left. Departing runway 08 right. 08 left.
Okay, so we still have whiskey. Make sure that I remain visual with the south of the bay there. There's the coastal line. Yes. Oh, that's too much of a descent. Even though we are clear of that Bravo chunk, still I'd like to be at 3,700. It's only for good practice, still. It's hard to see any kind of road or thing that we can follow. Yeah, this is the south end. Making a turn, I do see a road here. Heading off 150, what was it? 100. Okay, so something like this. No, a little bit more. A little bit more, something like this. Yeah, that's 100 on the magnetic compass, a little bit more even. That should bring us over Brown. It is a nice area here. I just hit the VFR preset VFR weather. There was Sim Gaming Rush. Thanks for the host, man. Appreciate it. Thanks. I just preset the VFR weather here, default weather here in X-Plane, and it gave me such a hazy weather. It looks really nice actually. But I guess with more clear weather here, the San Diego Bay must be awesome. Okay, so we're flying the direction that should bring us to Brown. We should cross over a highway, Highway 805 or Freeway 805. I don't know what the difference actually is. And I do see such a highway over here. That's the only one that we're going to cross, so that must be it. So that means that we are already nearing the edge of the Brown Delta. So that means that we should be able to spot Brown already over the nose, and I do see it already. Here's the runway. Alright, that was good reasoning. Not that difficult though, but I need to default back to the basics because, man, flying on visuals is so hard. And I should really free up my schedule to fly at least 2 times a week. I should be, by the way... Aha! I already warned myself. You see, guys? 2 airports. That is just outside of the border. I have a talent for misidentifying airports, even when I warn myself. My gosh. That is brown. Let's switch to the brown tower frequency so we also have an idea of how busy it is. I guess there's no one here. And brown tower frequency is 128.25. Switch.
Instruments after departure. Departure frequency.
Hey Ozzy, good to see you. Happy Sunday. Welcome on board. Currently going to brown, which is just underneath us.
Brandon, need to read back again, please.
Practicing with flying just on visuals because I'm making a mess with that. My gosh.
Transition. Then asphalt. Climb to city set, maintain 3,000, expect
all right.
6,000, 1 service after
I can
departure.
succeed. Yeah.
Departure frequency 120.55.
My new Reality XP GPS.
1, 2, 3.
Already listened to the ATIS, we've got whiskey. Delta goes up to 3,000. Yeah, goes up to 3,000. So we're still outside, so like to descend to traffic pattern altitude already, but don't like to bash into that delta.
1, 2, 3, 2 Charlie Foxtrot.
2 Charlie Foxtrot, right, correct.
Brown was 125, right? 128.25, yes. Whiskey, inbound full stop. Brown Tower, Sky Pop Hotel Tango India Mike, just overflying the field here at 3,300, inbound with whiskey for a full stop.
HTIM, Brown Tower, make straight in, runway 26 right, clear land.
Straight in, 26 right, and clears land. Pop Hotel Mike, thanks. All right.
And PHTIM, when you make that turnaround, just be careful. A lot of people make that turn and then end up landing at Tijuana here.
Roger that. Thanks for the heads up, Pop Hotel Mike. Yeah, like I already messed or confused those airports before. Thank you for the follow, Jackson. Thank you. Welcome on board. Okay, so now we have contacts. That means that we are clear to land. So what the tower was referring to, for those who missed, there are 2 airports very, very near Brown and, well, this airport. And you can very, very easily confuse the 2 and land in Mexico rather than in Southern California.
So that's 545 Charlie, leave Bravo airspace, air service terminated, contact Santa Monica Tower 1.
What a nice scenery here, even with that haziness. This is just default haziness, guys. Default weather here in X-Plane. I uninstalled X-Enviro with that new version because it was even worse, unfortunately, than the previous version. Go down, nice trails here, look at that. Make that turn straight in, 26 rights.
Runway 29er.
Where are we? Where are we? Where are we?
What can you get?
26. What is our? We're now going west. Should be in this direction. Okay. 1 notch of flap already.
Palm Springs Tower, south.
Yep. There's a runway with 2.
Alpha ready for departure.
Cactus 780, 10.7.
Where's the other field? There's the other field. Okay, so airport identified. Watch that speed there.
Aircraft, correction. R545, Santa Monica Tower.
In the white band. Almost in the white band, so we're not ready to go 20 degrees of flaps.
At or above 2,000 for
American 1473, turn left, direct to Los Angeles, resume.
There it is. Second notch of flaps. That was exciting. VFR corridor through San Diego, and I can imagine it would be a gorgeous route to fly with nice flying weather. I mean, with better visibility.
Runway 31 left, Southwest 352.
San Luis Tower, Skyhawk 210, Alfa Romeo, long downwind for runway 29.
Exactly, flying drill. Ozzy, wait, what's that GPS? Yeah, I installed the Reality XP GPS for both the 530 and the 430, and it is amazing.
0 Alfa Romeo. You can continue turning inbound. You don't have to change your pattern there unless you're instructed to. Runway 29 clip for the option.
Cleared for the option 210 Alfa Romeo.
Alright, going down. So I have an idea of where we like to park. At the end. Okay, so that means just put in a little bit more power here. Why land at the beginning of the runway if we need to taxi all the way down? Or up, I should say.
Taxi to 15 left via Bravo Charlie, cross 25 at Bravo 2 Charlie Foxtrot.
Vector Uniform Charlie, contact SoCal approach 135.
Yeah, we can park over there.
So
there's a taxiway here.
135.77.
Okay. Alright, focus on landing. Again, mixture. Ah, didn't turn on my landing lights. Sloppy.
Southwest 842, text Salt Lake Center 135.77.
Here we go.
Have 780 contact Salt Lake 135.77.
On the center line, Tim, nose up. Nice. Slowly go down on the nose. Flaps up. Nice sloped runway. Oh, that was a taxiway, I guess? Or not, no. I guess not. I don't see a yellow.
American 1473, contact Los Angeles Center 133.55.
Thanks for the follow, Hikikon.
5.27, sorry about that.
Thank you. And there we are. I guess the same will happen as with Montgomery. We need to stay on tower and monitor ground once we are cross over the runway there, because this is still tower terrain, tower territory. Landing lights off, strobe lights off. Aim for ground, something like this. That's good. And we're still with tower. Let's set the ground frequency here, which is 124.4. 124.4. Roger. And that's about it.
1470 center, Clementine level 190.
Alright. We're currently at 26 right, wasn't it? I did note it, but yeah, 26 right.
Is there another aircraft that was calling for a clearance?
I guess not.
Airport Romeo, you looking for the X-ray or Yankee?
Brown Tower, Skyhawk Papa Hotel Tango Mike is clear of 26 right, taxi to parking.
HIM, Radar, taxi to parking. Cross runway 26 left at Bravo, and then via Bravo Alpha.
We're going to cross 26 left at Bravo, and then via Bravo and Alpha to parking. Papa Hotel Mike, thanks for that today. Alright.
Number 4 Romeo, flying
and no monitor ground. Okay.
40.
There we go.
correction 150, so maintain 3000.
Set. Roger. Make sure no one is here coming in from either side or is on the runway, just to make sure. I mean, there's 08 right here, but the other side is 26 left, obviously.
And maintain 3500.
We're currently on Bravo, and Alpha is coming up. Nice. Well, that seems like an FBO kind of building.
Palm Springs Tower, Southwest 352. Can I switch to departure?
South 352, affirmatively switching here. Looks like you did something wrong on the departure though. You're supposed to flash straight out to the radio, then turn direct Palm Springs, then out to MRUD. Also, your squawk code is wrong.
Aye.
South 352.
Administration sounds risky and dangerous, police-like, but. And there we are on Brown.
Southwest 352.
Off. Avionics off. Cut off. Wait until the prop stops. There it is. Magneto switch off. Batteries off. Parking brakes. Are they set? Yes, they are set. Prevent crossfeeding. Door open. Pause track IR. Release my seatbelts. And there we are at Brown, guys. That was interesting. My gosh. So what we did was a nice flight all the way from Ramona to Gillespie to Montgomery, using the VFR corridor to go all the way down south to Brown. And man, again, I need to fly more regularly because I'm losing touch with my flight skills if I only fly once in 2 weeks or so. And also I just love to fly, but still, I should really free up more time to stream and do this. It's amazing. And also, what I need to do is to alternate between IFR training as part of my Season 2 series. I'm trying to get as close to a real-world instrument rating and flight simulator as I can. My Season 1 series, all my episodes were about getting, well, kind of like as close to a PPL rating in X-Plane using PilotEdge and all the stuff that I'm using here, add-on software. But still, I'm noticing if I'm only focusing on instrument flying, which now is the topic of my instrument training here on my channel, I'm just losing touch with ADC and VFR flying. Again, because flying on visuals is so damn hard. So I really need to alternate between VFR flights and IFR training just to keep in shape. It's also fun. Also diversifies, I guess, the Season 2 series, but it has some pedagogical relevance. And I'm again noticing that today. Even though next up in the next stream, I am going to pick up the thread with my IFR flying, inviting Mireille, Mrs. Uncertified Pilot, to get some failures going without me knowing while I'm flying, and I need to spot those and figure out what is actually going wrong with the airplane, which is a very good exercise. And that completes then I think already that completes my Season 1 of my series. I do not really know. Let me have a quick look. A few minutes left before we have dinner. Let me see. UncertifiedPilot.com. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, where am I? I'm at my instrument. No, it's not really that iPad friendly. Hello. Instrument. Yes, thank you. And now I'd like to go to stage 1. Yep, there we are. Let me see. Yeah, so we skipped the marginal VMC, unusual attitudes and stuff. I immediately went to the IMC bit, which was actually also much more relevant and meaningful. Yeah, and the next up is instrument failure identification. And one time I'm going to do that in marginal VMC, perhaps also as part of a VFR flight, and another time in IMC, because it's again much more difficult to notice a failure when you don't have an outside view to confirm or to that might trigger you that your attitude indicator is not working or whatever. So that's up, and that completes then my stage 1 of my Season 2 training, and then we move on to stage 2, and then ATC is coming around. We're going to fly procedures, instrument procedures, and yeah, basic GPS and autopilot flying. As you know, I haven't been flying the autopilot before. I try to fly as much as I can with by hand, but I do need to incorporate GPS as well to know how to fully utilize the GPS. So that's up next. And then VFR, NDB, radial flying, DME, ARCs, obstacle departure, standard departure procedure, standard. It's going to be totally new and so much more challenging. And again, that's also why it's important for me to brush off my VFR skills again, because that ATC stuff will also come into play here. So that's why. Exciting times ahead, and I need to fly more often per week. Okay, guys, well, let's have a very quick look at my landing here. My landing at Brown, which is cool. Let's disconnect from
disconnected.
PilotEdge. I believe my landing was okay-ish. Let's go a little bit back in time. A bit more. There we go. Shift 4. Control P. Oh yeah, so you can see overflown, crossed over Brown here. That was a nice call, and then find some echo airspace over here to go on down and have all the time in the world to get to Brown safe, in a safe manner. That's good. Thanks for the follow travel, thank you. Welcome on board. Okay. The Papa Hotel, Tango Indy Mike. Let's go a little bit faster. Dumpty 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 dum. There wasn't any wind. No. Let's close the door for the aesthetics here. Oh yeah, here I noticed that I had some time or some room left just to extend my final here just a tiny bit. There we go. Ah, Vinigi, good to see you. Yeah, I was already flying here. Good to see you just here in the last moment. Come on. Okay, let's have a look. Nose up, main wheels first. Lots of energy still under the wings. Nice hold off. Good. So that was a nice, the order that you like to see. The touchdown. Thanks for the follow. Joe Loop. Welcome. Thanks for the follow. Much appreciated. Nose up. Very nice. Main wheels first. Boom. There could have been a little bit more of a round off, a little bit more of a flare there. So I would say a 9 out of 10. And nicely on center line. Perfect. And that was our arrival at Brown. Cool. Here we are at administration. Okay, guys. Thank you for watching again. Dusting off my VFR skills. Man, I need to rewatch this video as well, because at the start of the stream when I was doing my first leg, flying from Ramona to Gillespie, I had some trouble just to get concentrated again and focused again, and I was making all kinds of sloppy mistakes, and gradually with each leg, well, my flight skills and knowledge and focus, well, returned to me. So again, I need to fly much more often, and it's also so much fun to fly with you guys. I'm so busy with work, that's actually what's happening. So I really need to free up my schedule there. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed and will still encourage me and follow me along my journey here across my Season 2 flights, getting as close to an instrument rating and flight simulator as I possibly can. Next up, I'm going to fly with Mrs. Uncertified, at least in the background, trying to identify my system failures and also get a little bit more knowledgeable of how to identify when an instrument is not working, which is totally different than me presetting the heading indicator not to work. So that's going to be very exciting. If you are looking forward to my next stream, hop over to Twitter or to my Discord, where I will announce all of my flights, and you be sure to jump aboard and help me out as my trusty co-pilot, because guys, I need your help to get to become a better pilot overall. So once more, thank you for joining. Finergy, good to see you just in time. Avanek, thank you for being here. 733 and 777, Flying Drill, all the guys. Ozzy, thank you so much for your tips and shares here along the stream. I really, really appreciate your presence here. Hoping to see you also with my next stream. Guys, as always, happy flights, blue skies, and looking forward to see you again in my next stream. Bye. Palm Springs Tower, Skyline Hotel Tango, Mike is 10 miles north of the airport at 3000, with information X-ray, and full stop, landing 13 left if it's available.
Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike, Palm Springs Tower, squawk 6250.
6250, Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike.
Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike, Palm Springs altimeter is 2985, radar contact, about 10 miles west of the Palm Springs VOR. Presently landing runway 31, so you're requesting straight in for 13.
If that's available, yes please.
Correction, Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike, make straight in runway 13 left, and clear to land. Wind is 0905.
Clear to land, runway 3 left, Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike, thanks.
Palm Springs clearance, plus 4658 is type PC 12 land call, frequent clearance to Vegas S5.
Plus 4658, Palm Springs clearance. Good afternoon. Unable to give you S-file, and I'll be forward standby. Plus 4658 is cleared to Las Vegas Airport. VFR Cathedral 1 departure procedure to Palm Springs. Victor 370 to 29 Palms. Victor 538. Cresso. Join the Cresso 3 arrival. Maintain 7,000. Expect flight level 2, 405 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 126.7, squawk 6316.
Plus 4658 is cleared to Vegas via Cathedral 1, Palm Springs, Victor 37029, Palms, Victor 538, Presso 3. Initially climb 7,000, expect to 40 after 5, departure 126 squawk 63 less 6 plus 465.
Plus 4658, readback is correct. Tango to Mike, taxi to ramp via Echo remain this frequency.
Taxiing to the ramp via Echo, remain on this frequency, Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike.
Ontario Tower says that